Yes! Alrighty, what's up everybody? It is I, your Tribal God of Extreme, Peter Joseph here for video number 2. Right here, once again, on the main channel, Killer of Demons 6. Oh, I love good news! 9. Thank you for watching, make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button down in my pants, otherwise known as the description box below. Share the video all over the internet, follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Leave a comment on the video if you like, but if you leave stupid comments, bye! You go bye-bye! You get sent to the Shadow Realm, and Ozzy and Satan will rip your face off and then eat your soul! So don't do it. And don't forget to tap and slap that bell to turn on all notifications so you don't miss the next one, because you miss anything, you need to get slapped. Because you're SOL. You know what that means. And that's pretty much it. You don't know what it means? Look it up. And for our first-time viewers, if you're here for the very first time, well, welcome to the party, pal! We hope you enjoyed the ride. Sit back, relax, you grab yourself a nice, tasty, cold one. Put your feet up and enjoy the show. If you like it, great, bye! We don't need you here. Get out of here. Go to somebody else. But thank you anyway for watching. And that's pretty much it. Alright, you can tell I'm in a good mood today because I had a good day. A great day. Had some good stuff. Went for a nice walk. I had work and I went for a nice walk. Had a doctor appointment. Check out my SmackDown review. So that's linked down below. We'll go back a video. And yeah, just got some pretty good news regarding my jobby job. So I'm gonna get a little more money. You gotta love that. And a few other things I can't talk about, but good stuff. Finally, a great day. I needed a good day because last few days have been kind of meh. So today, as Ice Cube would say, today was a good day. I didn't have to use my AK. Today was a good day. The poets, poetry, great. Anyway, hope everybody else hope all you guys had a great day, and if not, well, hopefully tomorrow will be better. That's all I can say. And that's that. Alright, we got Monday Night Raw coming up next. I thought it was at 8. I totally forgot. Special start time, 7 p.m. tonight. 7 p.m. from Springfield, Massachusetts. We're going to open the show with John Cena. Alright, it is pretty much his hometown. It's Newbury, Massachusetts. Well, it's kind of a hop, skip, and jump away from Springfield, Mass. So we're going to open with Jelly Boy for the final time in Springfield, Mass. And then we're going to see him one more time in Boston. That's going to be in, I believe, November. I don't know why he's on Raw tonight. He should have been on SmackDown to talk about Brock Lesnar. So maybe Brock appears tonight. I don't know, maybe. We'll see. But we got that. But we're going to do that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We'll watch that in a little bit. We'll talk about Raw tomorrow. But we got that. But right now, like I said, I hope everybody had a great day at the midpoint of September. September the 15th, 2025. It is time on video number 2, or 2 for you dumb people that don't know Spanish. It is time for your quick AEW Collision thoughts. You understand? Thoughts. From the show that happened this past Saturday, not live, but taped. From the EC Dub Arena on the corner of Swanson and Whitner in that shithole city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is the final show of the Philadelphia residency at the EC Dub Arena. This Wednesday, AEW will be in London, Ontario, Canada for just, I don't know if Collision's on Thursday this week. It might not because there's a pay-per-view this Saturday, so I don't think no Collision, but we'll see. But Dynamite will be in London, Ontario this Wednesday night, live on TBS, not TNT, TBS. But we got that, but we'll talk about that later. Alright, so as always, our usual commentary team for Saturday night, Tony Schiavone, God Almighty, Tony Schiavone on a Saturday night, WCW Saturday night. No, JR, it's Collision Saturday night. But God Saturday night. Okay, calm down. Alright, so Tony Baloney Schiavone and the legend from the UK, Nigel McGuinness, me love. And we got that. Alright, we're 1 week away from, well, as of this video, we're a few days away from AEW All Out Toronto. So, got a lot of things to talk about before we get there. Excuse me. And that's that. Alright, we start off with Ian Wicca Boring. Start brings out Maxwell Jacob Fartknocker, who gets right to the point. And Ian's like, stand there and don't talk. Yeah, thank you, Max, because nobody wants to hear Ian Riccaboni talk at all, especially on Ring of Honor TV. He's boring. But hello to the pasta, Caprice Coleman. We'll talk about him later. Alright, so Max talks about how stupid the fans are. Well, yeah, obviously. Which is somehow as stupid as Mark Briscoe. Then Max brags about his recent and future successes. Talks about some movie stuff, blah, blah, blah. And he got married. And he got married to Alicia Achich over the weekend. Lucky bastard, even though she's better than a guy that has a pickle dick. But a tiny pickle, Anyway, which makes him okay with Mark picking out the stipulation. So, on cue, the funky chicken himself, Mark Briscoe, reach for the sky, boy. Jay Briscoe, we acknowledge you! Back! Exactly. Jay, reach for the sky, boy. Get that. Alright, so he comes out. He's like, I haven't been this excited since I was a kid waiting on Santa Claus for Christmas. Joy. He's been thinking about things like the fact we're in Philadelphia, the city which is known for its love of tables, ladders, chairs, violence, oh my. So we'll make that the first piece of the puzzle. So we got a tables match. Then we'll throw in some thumbtacks, and I mean thousands, of thumbtacks, and they'll throw in a wedding present which involves Mark running in and jumping MJF, who escapes a J Driller on the thumbtacks. Damn. So we got I think this is the first ever TNT match in AEW, thumbtacks and tables. Now, I don't know what the object of the match is, obviously, I guess to pin your opponent, not to put them through a table for attacks and shit. So it's gonna be violent. This whole card is gonna be a little bit violent. We got Darby and Moxley in a coffin match, which Darby has always won. Can he win it again? Go 5-0? Let me see. We got that. But a TNT match. Good God Almighty. And we see what happens with that. Alright, then we're going to look at what happened last week with Danny Garcia on Dynamite. Danny Garcia turns heel and joins up with Moxley and the Death Riders. So we're going to see what happens with that situation later in the program, or most likely on Dynamite this week. Alright, get that. Alright, then we see Hologram and the Paragon of Roger Strong and Kyle O'Reilly Auto Parts with the whole corrupt file shit. Starts yelling about Danny turning on his friends. And basically the Paragon is ready to give the Death Riders an ass-kicking. Well, we'll see about that. Let me move on with that. Alright, then we get to a tournament. Another Tony Khan tournament. This time it is I believe a 6-man tournament for the chance to go to All Out to go after the Unified title, which Okada has. He's in the tournament. But most likely he will win. To go to All Out and defend against, well, we got the first part of it. We have Kosuke Takeshita taking on the 5-2 player Anthony Bowens. It was a pretty good match, but Takeshita wins after the, Bowens hit the mollywop, knocked Takeshita to the outside, and threw him back in, and Takeshita comes back with a Blue Thunder Bomb, and then picks him up, hits Raging Fire! 1, 2, 3, and a little over 9 minutes. Takeshita moves on to All Out. So we're going to wait for if Okada's facing Michael Oku in the tournament. And then we got the Beast Mortis and I think Mascarita Dorada, I think. So we'll see what happens with that. But most likely it's going to be Takeshita, Okada, and then whatever's left. Probably be the Beast Mortis, most likely. So, not a great 3-way for the Unified title. Should just be Okada versus Takeshita one-on-one. But maybe we'll get that at Wrestle Dream. I don't know. So we got that. So Takeshita moves on in the tournament. And we move on. Alright, then we see Mascara Dorada. I said Mascarita, but Mascara, sorry about that. He's ready for the Beast Mortals. That's gonna happen on Dynamite this week. Look at that. Alright, they'll get a video on her name is Rio and she dances on my fucking lap. And when she's done, she goes and takes a fucking nap. Yeah! Wee-hoo! Versus Mercedes Moné. That's gonna happen for the TBS title at All Out. We know Mercedes is gonna win that, obviously. Alright, after that, we got another $500,000 10-woman tag team match. Where's he get this money? $2 million! Well, basically $1 million if you think about it. Because you got 500 for the men, 500 for the women. Split it down the middle like little Alfonso said. Alright, so we got the Triangle of Madness. And that's the Spider Lady, Decla, and Sky Blue, and the beautiful Julia Hart. They team up with the Megasis, Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford to take on Holly Cameron, Chris Ass Statlander, ooh, and Ty Mello, the woman with a fat ass and a mean attitude, that's Anna Jay, and Daphne from Scooby-Doo, Jamie Hayter, and Timeless Toni Storm, darling bosom. And she ain't leaving AEW yet. Her contract ends in 2027, I believe. So I don't know if she's going to resign or if she's going to be done by 27, but we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, Toni Storm on commentary. And we got a video earlier in the day where Harley and her team got into a big old argument with Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter in particular not getting along, despite how it's like, yay, we're all happy! Shiny happy people! No, not happy. William Yuta, this useless idiot, is like, yay, Chris Statlander, yay! Why are you there? You're useless! You're trying to get in her pants? That ain't working, dude! Because you're the type of guy that can't get it out of your pants. But I digress. Alright, so it was a pretty back and forth match. Nothing great. It is what it is. We get to the end, and Mega Man hits a Falcon Arrow on Jamie Hayter. She did the deed for a near fall. Statlander made the save. Everything breaks down, and then the Triangle Madness starts taking over. And then a whole bunch of knockdowns until it's down to Megan Bayne and Jamie Hayter with a big old slug out. Which, we're going to double tag. Nobody really won that, but we got a double tag. Brings in Decla to spear Anna Jay, out of her boots. And, team, the heels get the win in a little over 9 minutes. And that's pretty much it. And then afterwards, a humongous brawl starts. And then the one and only Queen Aminata and my fourth amazingly hot Asian wife, Mina Shirakawa went in with a spatula. Would you like a spatula? And a cooler with a save. And then Tony's like, you want a brawl? And then she jumps off the announce table onto everybody. And then Declan tries for a spear. And Tony countered that into Storm Zero. And then cleared the entire ring. So we got that. We know Tony's going to defend against Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Thekla at out for the AEW Women's Championship. Hopefully she retains, but we'll see what happens with that. Let me move on. Alright, then we got Max Caster. Max Caster, you're the best wrestler alive, but you still suck. So his 5-minute challenge is answered by Big Cass. Goes up with the bad apple, Brian Keith, and as you would tell, Big Cass beats the fuck out of him in 2 minutes. Bye-bye. And then after the match, Big Cass calls out Eddie Kingston, which he did last week, did it again this week, saying he's tired of people yelling at him for not showing Eddie respect. And he doesn't care about Japanese wrestling, and the challenge is out for All Out, which was accepted. So we got Eddie Kingston coming back after like a year with his messed up leg that Gabriel Kidd kind of gave to him about a year or so ago. So, match is on, but Big Cass says, I don't even think Eddie Kingston's gonna show up. I bet he will. He's gonna whip your ass. And that's that. Alright, then we got Jerry Lynn. Ooh. He talks to Anthony Bowens in the ring. But Bowens jumps Max Caster and they brawl into the arena. Caster fights back, which draws Jerry Lynn out to break it up. And Jerry remembers how good of a tag team they used to be, but then they wanted to go singles route, which didn't do good for them, huh? And then the Swirl come out. Blake Christian and Lee Johnson, they come out, bore the fuck out of me. Blake Christian is tired of Jerry Lynn trying to become Billy Gunn 2. Jumps him, and then Max Caster helps Jerry Lynn fight back. Bowens then runs in, and the Swirls then clear it out. But neither Max or Anthony seem to want any part of a reunion. No Sesame Daddy, no nah, none of that. But it's still a chance. So we'll see what happens with that. Alright, Raw's on the air right now, but we'll see what happens with that. We're going to get to that in just a second. Alright, after that, we get Mystico. I don't know where Mystico came out. Got caught up by MJF for the guy who looks like a short Abraham Lincoln. What the fuck is this guy? And then MJF says, I'm ready to take your mask for the better of wrestling. And then the guy that's dressed up as Abraham Lincoln runs his mouth and gets slapped right in the fucking mouth. This could have been an email. Pretty much. I don't know what part of that was, we'll get that. Alright, after that we go to FTR, Dax the Axe Hard, and Cash Gonna Clock Wheeler taking on Tommy Billington, the Dynamite Kid Jr., and Adam Priest. This is a rematch from last week where FTR beat the fuck out of them. Alright, we're gonna do it again. Okay, why not? Soapy Hathaway at ringside. Pretty good match, to be honest with you, and it ends with Tommy Billington cross-faces Dax, but a foot on the ropes gets him out, and then Cash Got a Glock Wheeler catapults Adam Priest into the ring post. Ow! Then the spike pile driver on the Dynamite Kid Jr. Tommy Billington gets the win for FTR. That's it. They went in a little over 17 minutes, and then after the match, they celebrate, and then we're told about a 4-way ladder match for the tag team titles at All Out. And various teams are ready to qualify for the ladder match. So another tournament. Woo! You know the Hurt Business is going to be in that. The Bandito and Rouge Brodito, that's 2. FTR, probably 3. No, FTR won't be in that. Because they're fighting Edge and Christian. Probably see maybe the Death Riders minus Yuta and Claudio maybe be in that. Because Mox is fighting Darby. And then 14 probably be Jet Speed. That's a pretty decent ladder match. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Alright, then we go to Michael Oku taking on the Unified Champion Okada, who is defending the belt as part of the tournament because that's what he did for the Continental Tournament. Match was actually decent, not great. Okada wins after his Rainmaker gets countered into a small package from near fall when Okada hits the Tombstone Power Driver into the Rainmaker. 1, 2, 3, Okada advances. Obviously, you knew that. So he will face Takeshita and the winner of the Beast Mortis and Mascara Dorada on this Wednesday night at All Out. Probably be Beast Mortis, but we'll see what happens with that. After the match, Takeshita comes out. They have a little stare down. We get that. Alright, then we get a video for Kyle Fletcher and the Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Title match at All Out. And that's it. Alright, I think this was this was the main event of Collision, the Death Riders of Moxley and William Yuta, right? Was it? Let me see. It was Moxley and Garcia, taking on Kyle O'Reilly and Roddy. Back and forth match, getting to the end, the Death Riders get stereo holds on the Paragon, but they get out of it. Strike away at Moxley for a near fall. Kyle O'Reilly dies on the Mox with a drop kick against the barricade. Ow. Followed by a cross arm breaker to Garcia. And then that gets broken up, and then Garcia locks in the Dragon Tamer on the bad leg of O'Reilly, who taps out in under 13 minutes, and that's it. Pretty decent match, and that's it. Then to close out the show, Matt Maynard, Daddy Magic, Matt Maynard, you want to know what makes his nipples hard? Well, not Danny Garcia anymore, because after the match, he yells at Danny Garcia, who just like, fuck you, dude. I think we're going to see Garcia and Matt Maynard in like a blood feud match or some shit. But we got that. Alright, so that ends Collision. Wasn't a bad show, but I'm going to give it 6.25 out of 10 stars. So let me know what you guys thought of the show down below in the comment section. And like Trick Willie would say, let's talk about it. And that's it. Alright, time for Raw, ladies and gentlemen. We got to talk about John Cena a little bit. Well, I'm going to have John open the show, so we're going to hear what he has to say about what Brock said on SmackDown. And that's that. Alright, guys. Until next time, after Raw, we'll talk about TNA and Ring of Honor. Then we'll talk about Raw tomorrow. Maybe if we have time tonight, but most likely tomorrow. We'll see what happens with that. But until next time, my friends. Adios. Rock on and rock hard with your cook-out. And if you're not down with that, well, I got 3 fucking words for you. You better remember it. Fuck you, man. That's it. Until next time. Peace.